Yes.
So in the Quran, it has like many examples of how a person would because they say you get your book of deeds in your left or your right, or in barzakh you'll see something that will and there's also many hadiths that state things many situations that will let you know whether or not you're going to heaven or hell. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
So will the person go through all of those? Because it's kind of like repetition. Let's say you're going to heaven, so when you die you're going to see, and then when you're brought out from the grave you're going to see again, and then on the day of judgment you'll go through many stages that will show you that. Or is it just some examples of what will happen one time?
That's a very good question. So in the barzakh, if a believer is saved and they're told that Allah is pleased with you, and you go to Wadi Salam as we've examined before, then the person will know that on the day of judgment, I will eventually be forgiven and saved. So where's the element of uncertainty with the mu'min? How you will be judged? See, I'll give you the example that we just mentioned. Let's say you know you will not go to hell, inshallah. Allah will forgive you and you will go to heaven. But how long will it take you to go to heaven? Imagine if you have to stand during just the station of Hisab for 1,000 years on your feet. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for a few years in dunya? You had these shortcomings and you did not use the resources properly, and then you have to stand 1,000 years on your feet? So the mu'min, he knows from barzakh, I will be saved, but he doesn't know the details of the reckoning. How long the day of judgment is going to be for me? How will Allah judge me? That I don't know. And remember, it's not easy to stand and before the ultimate judge, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have to answer for everything. Sometimes you're tired, you're in the airport, the officer asks you a few extra questions, you want to blow up. You lose patience, right? Imagine on the day of judgment. Now that's for the believer. As for the kuffar, or those who die in that middle state, we've talked about them, they'll be put to sleep in the barzakh. They don't know their fate. I know I failed my test at the moment of death, but on the day of judgment, is Allah going to forgive me? How much He'll forgive me? Is He going to reduce from my sentence? How much He'll do that? They don't know. So there is that element of uncertainty. That only becomes clear when? On the day of judgment. So in barzakh, there's a lot of uncertainties for us. We don't know the details of what will happen. So it's not really a repetition, but basically barzakh is like a pre-trial. You have an indication of where the trial is going, but you don't know the details. Is it going to be an easy trial? Is it going to be a tough trial? That all depends on how your deeds are going to be judged. Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
What about on the day of judgment itself? Because there are different stations, would all of these different stations be different ways of expressing the same thing? That everybody will, for example, experience scales, or everybody will, or some people will experience the Sirat? Because if someone did well on the scales, would they be liable to perhaps fall off of the Sirat? Is there, or is it, okay, you have to pass through each and every single one of these stations, and at any one of them, there is a chance of uncertainty that you could fail over there?
That's a very good question. So Imam Ali alayhi salam does have a hadith in which he says the day of judgment is 50 stations. Each station is 1,000 years, and that's the breakdown of the 50,000 years. Now this is the default. For some believers, some of these stations will be very quick. So it starts with the emergence from the graves. We talked about how that happens, how it's so packed. Remember that the Imam says if you have a place to stand on, you're lucky. That's how packed Sahat al-Mahshar is. Now, in each of these stages, there is that element of uncertainty. Now, the one who died as a mu'min, he knows, inshallah, I will get to heaven. But I don't know what will happen in these stages. The Mizan, what's going to happen? The Sirat, remember, Sirat passes over hell. How long will it take you to pass the Sirat? That creates a lot of anxiety. Imagine you're seeing hell underneath you. The Prophet saw hell in Mi'raj and he never laughed after that. Now can you imagine what kind of effect that has? So the believer will be preoccupied with these thoughts. Okay, I know Allah will eventually forgive me, but I passed this stage. Next stage, how long is it going to be? What kind of suffering is it going to give me? That in itself is very difficult on the Day of Judgment. Now there are mu'mineen who will just go quickly through all of these stages. In a very short amount of time, they finish all 50. But those are as-sabiqun, the very high-ranking believers. But for the average believers, it will be challenging going from one step to the other step. Now those people who are in the middle, they probably did not die with full iman, but they were not rejectors of the truth either. They will have the uncertainty. Okay, I passed station 26. Will I make it in 27 or no? They don't know. So they're desperately waiting for the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until they finally make it through. Even the kafir, by the way. Some of the kuffar, some of the evil ones, Allah on the Day of Judgment does not directly send them to hell. He lets them go through every one of these stages for 1,000 years, and He will judge them in the most difficult way. Why does Allah do that? To humiliate them. Because even some of the kuffar, they're still not sure. Remember, on the Day of Judgment, even Iblis will hope in the mercy of Allah. So he'll see maybe others that were forgiven, so he's trying to wonder, okay, I know I deserve hell, I failed the test. Maybe Allah will forgive me. And remember, we have hadiths that say if you have goodness in your heart, eventually Allah will forgive you. Those people who go to hell, that's it, there's just no goodness in them. So even a lot of kuffar will anticipate maybe some rahmah will come their way in the next stage. And it's a very difficult feeling.
And then if you don't make it, if you don't make it past one of those stages, then khalas, you don't get taken to the next stage, then you're sentenced, basically, right?
Yes, we have a hadith that says those mushrikeen who died on shirk knowingly and who fought the Prophet directly, the hadith says they don't have hisab. That Mizan, that stage, it's directly to hell after that. So yes, some of the kuffar will be skipping some of these stages. There's just no point for them anymore. They have absolutely no good deeds to be weighed. So some of them, yes, they will not go through all the 50. Before that, they will be sentenced to hell. There's a hadith about it.